Hey guys, welcome to the Getting Started in the Podcast Community session. I'm your host, Mike from Herp Collectors and the Herp Collectors Network. This evening we've got the gang from Morph Forge. So we've got John, Jamie, and Jason. They also host a podcast called the No Remorph Podcast. You can find it on YouTube. It's a really good podcast. I actually was a guest on that podcast one time and I had a lot of fun. So definitely looking forward to tapping in with these guys again so they can talk to you about getting started in the podcast community. So without further ado, we're going to welcome the gang aboard.
Hey,
Hey
Mike, glad
guys,
to see
how's
you
it going?
again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you, man. I really appreciate you guys coming out and chatting with us this evening. Like I was saying, you guys, you've got the No Remorph podcast. Really like what you guys doing, the professional setup. I like your structure and production quality and all of that. So definitely wanted to get a chance to chat with you today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, super appreciate that. It was great having you as a guest. It's great having everybody as a guest, but it's just an awful lot of fun, and all the good feedback is always appreciated for sure. Thanks, Mike. You're too kind.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun on that podcast. Lot of fun. So definitely we've got limited time today, so definitely want to hop right into the discussion. And so I've got some questions for you. We can feel free to go with the flow, but we'll just kind of start off here with the very first question. So what inspired you guys to launch the podcast, and kind of like what was the tipping point that made you guys say, hey, we're going to do this?
Okay. Great question. Obviously, it's something that everybody considers when they consider doing something like this, but inspiration for it really was just seeing all of the great content out there, all of the creators that had their own space, their own feel, their own vibe to what they were doing. That in itself was kind of inspiring. But we got invited real early on. I don't know how many people out there are going to be familiar with Gershon, GP Snakes. He YouTube Yoda, I think, is the
Yeah, YouTube Yoda.
nomenclature in at least our little community. But dragged us on right away, and sitting down with him, that was one of his big things, was to get people out there, to step out of their comfort zone and kind of do it. So that was super early when we started into reptiles in general, and it kind of progressed to where we were really ready to go. We had the ideas kind of churning. We wanted to get a little well known. We wanted to be a little more familiar with everybody, but we had a little bit of a life circumstance that delayed that. So a year and a half went by, kind of had some time to regroup, heal, kind of cure some of the ailments going in that situation. And the time just kind of came up where we're like, we need to do this. We've been thinking on it too long. Refresh, restart, and just jump in and get it done. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a natural thing.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to that a lot for a couple of different reasons. A, Gershon was very instrumental in pushing me to do the podcast, and we've talked about this before. But also,
Mhm.
I definitely delayed for several months, like 6 to 9 months, before I actually went ahead and made that plunge. Had a little bit of self doubt, things of that nature, because I mean, I've only been in reptiles in general since 2020, so not a long time, and so starting the podcast was like 3 years ago, so even less of a tenure in the industry. And so I kind of had that self doubt, questioning myself, like, do people want to hear what I have to say? And so definitely
Sure.
got caught up in the paralysis of analysis for too long, but I did finally go ahead and take the plunge. Were you guys intimidated at first? Any butterflies in your stomach, anything like that?
Yeah. I was
Sure.
definitely having butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah. And individually different levels of that for sure.
Yes.
I think going in as a group was a huge help. I mean, we had the three of us to lean on going into it, obviously comfortable in our group, but stepping out into an atmosphere like that, having somebody right next to you in the same situation is a
Yeah.
huge benefit for sure.
And
Yeah.
I think, like Mike said, like he had some self doubts and do people want to hear what we have to say? We had exactly that same thing going on. Like, do we have enough to offer somebody that they don't already know? Just stuff like that is definitely.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, it's easily to it's easy to get in your own head with this type of stuff for sure. So, how long have you guys been doing the podcast now? About how long?
A little over a year,
A little over a year.
55 episodes, I think we're at. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say year and a half, 2 years, but that tracks. That sounds about right. So, what's a piece of advice that you would give someone just making the plunge into this space?
What you think, Jamie? You got this one?
Just kidding. Well, I think we just kind of winged it, So I think giving advice, I wish we would have known to have a structure, how much preparation is needed before you get started. Ensure you have a really good format and make sure that you're on your time frames. You're not, stick to your time frames so you're not getting off track. Just being as consistent as possible to avoid being sidetracked is really important. I would say having a co-host or a really close friend that can help you out, maybe run backstage, or if you're sick or absent, somebody can hop in your place and help you out is a good piece of advice. We're lucky that we have the three of us, so when somebody is sick or not able to make it, we can still go on with the show. But
you guys got plan B and plan C.
Yeah, cheat code. We got the cheat code.
Yep.
So you mentioned kind of like all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, and I do think there's a misconception that because you guys do a live podcast, and so there's a misconception that doing a live podcast is so much easier than doing a pre-recorded podcast. You basically just slap a thumbnail on YouTube and slap a video on YouTube via StreamYard, and you just kind of do whatever. But we know that that's not the case. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. So speak a little bit to you guys' workflow and kind of all the work that it takes for you guys to get to that moment where you can click go live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the work involved in the prep in something like that is kind of understated. Like you said, I mean, each guest is going to be individual. Some of them are going to be really well versed in that arena. Some are not. Some you're going to have to really nudge along or hold a hand, really guide them in the questions and how they, can keep the conversation going. Other ones are going to be just a great conversation from start to finish. So there's an argument for both being a ton of work, but I think knowing that about your guest and how that show is going to look the next week is a lot of the work involved in getting it right. And that's still going to miss sometimes. It just is, you have those pre-show conversations and you think you have it all ironed out and something goes wrong and it's not the end of the world. People like to see that genuine real world experience too. The little glitches and failures and things aren't something to hang up on, just kind of move on, laugh it off and have a good show regardless, but it's a lot of work either route, recorded or live, I guess is the answer. Yeah.
100%. And I'm sure you guys have like a system like John, you may handle like X, Y, and Z. Jamie, you handle A, B, C, and then Jason, you handle D, E, F.
Exactly. We do. We're lucky. Again, that way we're really fortunate to have so many hands in it so we can multitask with it.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful. And so you talked about coming up with your podcast concept. So how did you land on the way you guys do your podcast, and what about your podcast concept do you think appeals to your audience?
Well, like John said, our intention was to start a podcast over a year before we actually did it, and we're kind of headed towards that. Just going to hop on the platform, wing it. No real structure, theme. We're just, hi, we're Morph Forge and we like snakes, But as we're kind of psyching ourselves up to do this, we had that tragedy that he spoke of, and it really just kind of knocked the wind out of our sails. I mean, we thought, take some time, think this through, everybody kind of get a grip on things. And, that hiatus did provide some time for self-reflection, and somewhere in the stretch of like a 12 to 18 month period from the time we initially thought and the time we were actually going to do it, we ended up kind of putting all the ideas we had in the beginning aside and just went, with a couple common core themes. And the things that we felt were most important or really fit who we are as people. So we all kind of agreed that we wanted to have guests That's kind of a given. I mean, none of us three live exciting enough lives to entertain people, week after week. Nobody wants to tune in and go, hey, let's see if Morph Forge got all their snakes fed and their tubs cleaned again this week, right? So we figured we'd run out of content pretty quickly with that idea. And, if you're going to make a podcast and have it be sustainable, you have to have a reason for your guests to want to tune in each week. So anyways, at that time, most of the shows we were familiar with were either panel style or, where they had 4 or more guests at the same time, or they were kind of splitting time between their guests and then talking about their own business. And they're succeeding at those formats, and we like the shows, but we didn't want to just emulate that, I guess. We wanted to do something a little different to hopefully help us stand out a bit and give folks a reason to say, hey, I think I'll go check out what the Forges is doing on their show. So we went back to the basics and we said, we're just going to be ourselves. What you see is kind of what you get type of thing. And, but we're going to concentrate on 2 prime things. I mean, we're going to make sure our guests remain the focus throughout the show, and then ensure that our viewers felt like they were kind of part of the production. Something we really enjoy is learning more about the people, behind the hobby. So getting to know the person on a more personal level. And, we thought most people just naturally want to know more about the people that they know at the industry level. And so we assumed this would just be an appeal to our audience on a, core human curiosity level. So we kind of tailored our interview portion to do just that. I mean, we try to make it so it's as much of a conversation you might just have with friends sitting around the living room, or over a beer, as it is an actual interview. And we added our hot seat portion, which dives even more. People are familiar with that. Dives even more into getting to know the individual, and providing a glimpse into their likes or dislikes, over a range of kind of fun personal topics. So, like I said, we wanted our viewers to feel like they were really part of the show. It's tough to do. Podcasting platform is not ideal for that because your interaction with your audience is strictly through the chat. But we try to make a real effort, to get the questions and comments from the chat into the show, promote interaction between the viewers and ourselves and the viewers and the guest. And I guess to make a long story just slightly longer, I think that's the appeal. Our viewers know or quickly learn that, they're an active part of our show, and they'll likely learn something new and interesting about someone that they know just from an industry level, hopefully enjoying some entertainment along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys, you rolled out the Forgecoin as well. So speak a little bit about that and how that engages your audience.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, that's a weird one. So Forgecoin, we've talked about this in the past and on our own show too, and a couple others, but it's just one that Jamie and I laugh because I literally came out of the shower. It's a shower thought. I came out and I'm like, what we should do on the show? We're giving away this stuff. We're giving away merch. We're giving away snakes. We're doing these things, just as an audience. Thank you. Why can't that be? It's out of our pocket already. Why can't that be something that goes farther than us? Why can't that coin be used with other affiliates, other people we get along great with, we like in this community, that we want their product out there as well? They don't have to sponsor the show per se, but have the ability to transfer that to other groups that we're really close to and we work intimately with anyways. The money's coming out either way. It might as well go to a bigger group, right? And it just made a lot of just instant sense to me. Like, that's what we're here for anyway. Let's grow this as a group. Let's be part of this and integral to everyone's success. And that's like an immediate direct route to do that and have fun with it. But not pin it down to, hey, you have to buy our shirt. You have to get one of our snakes. Why not anyone else in here doing the same thing? Kind of a good ethic, I think, just all around,
Yeah. I think it's a great idea too, because not only does it get the chat and listeners and all that engaged and involved, but it also gets like others in the community involved in terms of like their actual business, if that makes sense. And so I think that was a great idea, like absolutely great idea. So when I saw that, I was very impressed. So kudos to you guys for doing that, and that must have been a damn good shower.
It's one of those ones you sneak in, over your lunch break at work because you got other things to do, and
those are the best. So no wonder. Cool. So let's get into a little bit of tech talk, right? So tech for a beginner, it can seem kind of overwhelming. So speak to like y'all set up in terms of like your microphone, the streaming software that you're using, any kind of tools that you're utilizing to make your show a success.
Okay, so that's a little bit of an odd question, maybe not odd, but for a beginner, they feel like they do need all of these special things, right? I don't think to have a good start or a good, lean into this that you need really anything special. I mean, phones do a fantastic job, in all honesty, of doing the video. The one thing I'd say on phones is maybe get a separate mic. Doesn't feel like you're in this big, container room talking 10 feet away, but we're pretty minimal and we're going to stay pretty minimal because I don't see the need, at least at our scale, to go bigger than that. So really nice webcam, something that's going to do your 1080p, probably minimal to have a decent image of what you're trying to project. Really recommend a PC over something like a touchpad or a directly from your phone. Just simply, if you're going to produce and you're going to do things that are unique and interesting, you need that interface with a mouse, a keyboard, to be able to control things in a reasonable manner and give yourself a little bit of a unique look. But mics in general, as long as it's, close, like this is not an expensive mic. It's not a top end. It's not bottom end. It's in that $100 range. All those things suffice, I think, to really get your message out there. It's more about what you're putting out than how it appears, I feel like, within reason, right? Do some
you can
recordings.
grow into that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do some recordings. And are you happy with it when you see that back? That's like the barometer, I think, to start with. Like, is that cool with you? If it is, it's probably cool with everybody else too.
Right.
100%. Jason, you made a great point. You can grow into it. If you look back at like my old episodes and just kind of how things have changed over the years, you see I didn't start like with the setup that I have now. Like I kind of progressed and I tweaked things along the way, and that's part of it, right? Is the whole growth aspect, the whole journey.
Yep.
You learn more. You're able to do more and do things differently and tweak the process. So I think really kind of the moral of it is don't get in your head like at the beginning and talk yourself out of it, because
Absolutely.
you don't have like this Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, or whoever kind of setup. Like they didn't start like that, or at least I don't think so. Maybe Joe did, but, but most of your average people, they're not starting like at the top. They're iterating through the process and adding on as they learn more and can afford more and whatever else goes into it.
Yep, and we can all improve, right? I mean, we look at all the time, what can we make just a little bit better. You want to do that forever, really. So there's no point in trying to jump to the end, because it's a long ways out there.
Right.
100%. That's like not working out and then going in the gym and say, hey, I'm gonna squat 405 pounds.
Yeah,
throw those extra plates on.
That sounds familiar.
Right.
Load them up, boys. Ooh, so life is going life, right? There's always things that come up, and life offers challenges, but consistency is key. Life gets busy, we know, but how do you guys stay on track with releasing your episodes, especially with a live format show, meaning that you don't have the luxury of saying, hey, I'm gonna record this at this time versus this time, because everyone's expecting your episode to drop at a specific time?
Yeah. Building a network of reliable people is super important for that. Again, it's really helpful that we have the three of us, so we have different tasks that we take care of. I'm in charge of gathering the guests, so we like to keep them scheduled out 4 to 6 weeks in advance, so then we can collect all the data and information, pictures that we need from them in advance, and John can do the behind the scenes with the studio prep prior to the episode, just to relieve any of that last minute hustle and bustle to get it ready. We almost always have it prepped half a week before the show. So it's nice. It's nice that way. I would basically just say anything to avoid scrambling. Just be on top of it.
Scramble always ends up bad, right?
Right. It adds a lot of stress.
Scramble. Yeah, the scramble always ends up bad, or has the potential for sure. So
it keeps it in.
Right.
It does.
But no, I totally agree with you. Having stuff scheduled ahead of time and having your tasks knocked out ahead of time makes life so much simpler, because there's that guy called Murphy. And so if you wait till the last minute, something's bound to happen. And sometimes it's unavoidable. I know, because life's challenges happen, but I would definitely say best practice is to have a schedule, stick to the schedule, do your stuff ahead of time, because you don't want something at the last minute to come up that kind of interferes with you being able to execute and deliver the product.
Right. And the one thing probably not even touched. Oh, I was going to say the one thing not even really touched on there either is like, stay in touch with your guests, make that connection like something that goes on from your show. So you run into those spots where you have a last minute cancel. We've pulled 4 and 5 person panels together in a day because previous guests were willing to jump back on, Make that a genuine connection in your show and carry that forward too. I feel like that's kind of paid big dividends for us, having that clutch content when we needed it. They were more than happy to come back. Yeah, I'll definitely come help you out,
Yeah, because as much planning as you do, sometimes there's a cancellation or whatever. So always have that backup plan. The networking, super important. And it's fun. Sure. The community is fantastic.
For sure. So talk about ways that you guys get your podcast in front of new viewers. What are some of your marketing hacks?
So, you got to kind of keep cost in mind when you do that, because let's face it, if you really want to market, man, and you've got the money, you can market some stuff. So when I look at what we've done from that perspective with the cost, and then how is it creative, I think a few things come to mind, and the initial reflex that I have on it is to go right to the hot seat, right? We put the hot seat shorts out there because everybody loves it. We know they're going to watch them, and people that haven't seen them, they're easy to watch. They're short for the most part. And, that may get them to go, hey, man, we're going to go check out the show. But, I'm probably going to go with one that I think's really just starting to gain ground. It has the potential to bring in more and more folks over time. And that's what John talked about earlier, which was the Forgecoin. It's a currency or credit that we came up with. Basically, like we spoke, it's just a way for us to be able to give back to our viewers, but do it in a way that allows them to spend it with, whoever they want to spend it with. They can purchase swag with it, animals. Whatever our affiliates will agree to, they can purchase it. And I say it's creative because it's something that, like you were kind of saying earlier, Mike, I don't think anybody else has done that, at least not in the reptile industry that we're aware of. So kind of creative that way. And I'd categorize it as low cost, even though there is a monetary cost associated with it. If it's successful, the cost can be offset, through your monetization, your affiliation, sponsorships, that type of thing. And in a sense, it just pays for itself. So you get to give back, you kind of get to hand out money, and it's paid for. So, there's time related costs involved. Like, we sat down and kind of worked through how this is going to work. Some time for setup, how do you present it? How do you earn it? How do you spend it? How do we track it? That kind of thing. But that's a one-time investment. Once we got that figured out, we're pretty good there. So really the ongoing cost to it, that will always be a cost, really is basically the management of the register or balancing of the books. And we have to keep that up to date, right? But that's really it. So I think the idea is catching on, and to date we've got affiliates that are offering a variety of merchandise, from husbandry products to marketing products and animals to apparel, and the numbers are just continually growing. We're really proud of it. We're super honored to be working with those affiliates, awesome people and businesses in the industry, and they really are the reason why I would say that this is going to be a continual growth of viewership for us, because we know that our affiliation with them will continue to bring us viewers, who initially they may just be looking for their chance to get some Forgecoin so that they can take it back and spend it with their favorite vendors.
Gotcha. So speaking of apparel, when you first said hot seat shorts, for a split second, my mind went to like literal shorts. Hear me out. I think that might be a good idea. Like you have some nice shorts,
Yeah,
with some flames on it. You have y'all's logo and the hot seat shorts.
I'm gonna write that down, Mike.
It'll be added to our Printify shop.
Yeah.
I am 100% behind that idea. As long as I don't have to model them, I'm all in.
Exactly. Nobody wants to see these chicken legs, man.
We can get Rose reptiles to model them.
There
we go. Yep. Perfect.
So the last question that I got for you guys. So what's one unexpected lesson that podcast has taught you guys that you would pass on to somebody looking to get into this space?
Ooh, that's actually an awesome question. And I think it's a little bit of a motivational response too, because the biggest thing I think that, at least for me, and I don't presume to speak for Jason or Jamie, but I didn't anticipate the positive reaction and continued, I guess, involvement from the various people that we've made connections with. And it's kind of cliche. You hear it all the time. Just go out there, be yourself. You'll find your tribe, that kind of a feeling. But it was never the group of people I expected it to be that we have now. Like I could never anticipate the people that really made a really close, genuine connection with us over time. From the beginning, it would not have been people I hand selected and went out, I think this would work with them. And you just don't know that going in, right? And it's a really pleasant and super positive surprise on the other side of it when you feel like the show's not going great. And, you get that one message through Instagram, hey, I watched the show last week. It was fantastic. You guys do a great job. Well, you felt like you fell on your face or you crashed or you had a terrible show, but that just turns it like instantly right around and makes it worthwhile again. Like just that one positive feedback. So that was something that surprised me. I didn't anticipate that being part of the program. I thought you go into this, you produce it, you do it, you put it out there. You don't hear a lot back and it just kind of exists on its own, but it kind of becomes its own living thing that kind of feeds you. It feeds your audience. It's just organic. I don't know how else to say it. And I think that's a lot to do. Yeah, it's a lot to do with like how you go into it too, right? Like if you bring yourself, you're genuine, and that's what you're putting out there, it can't help but be positive back, because that's going to be picked up, it's going to be recognized. Those people that would normally attach to you out there in the world anyways are going to kind of do that through this medium. It's just been nothing but good. Are there difficult times? Is it stressful? Yeah, I mean, sometimes. Are there some failures or things you don't feel great about? For sure, anything, right? But overall, I did not anticipate it to be as rewarding as it is to me personally. Hopefully, I mean, you guys agree down there too. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you were talking about, sometimes there are some things that go wrong, but honestly, if you don't take yourself too seriously, those are some of the most entertaining parts of it. And actually, when you look back, were some of the most enjoyable parts of it too. So yeah, it's been a really, really good experience.
Yeah, 100%. For sure. Yeah. Those personal messages, like those DMs and those texts and those phone calls of people giving you feedback and saying they appreciate what you're doing, stuff like that. Like that hits different. Like it means a lot. I know it definitely inspires me, so I can definitely identify with exactly what you're talking about and that whole dynamic. So we are coming up on our 30-minute time limit. So we definitely got to wrap it up, but really appreciate you guys coming on today for this. This has been amazing. Like I say, big fan of what you guys do. A lot of respect for what you guys do. You're doing a killer job. So definitely keep on keeping on.
Thanks, Mike. That means a lot coming from you. Appreciate that, guys bringing us on. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in to Epic.
Give him the salute.